all that water rushes downhill. The early makings of a disaster. And it doesn't need to be raining where you are. A street like this in a valley can funnel the water, creating a dangerous setup for a flash flood. Heavy rainfall is the main ingredient in flash flooding. Other factors include building in a flood zone, improper drainage, and ground that's just too wet and can't absorb any more water. And this happens fast. Now look at the street. The water is business to business here, wall to wall. Whoa, what's this guy doing? And this water is about 6 inches now, and it's enough to stall vehicles and even float vehicles in some cases. You're going to lose control, and you don't want to be this guy. So if you come to a street that's flooded, turn around, don't drown. More than half of the deaths from flooding each year occur in vehicles. And the water's still rising here. In fact, it's enough to float pretty much anything away that's not bolted down. At 2 feet, it's going to carry away even cars like this. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is an SUV, and the water is high enough now to carry SUVs and pickup trucks. And this water is well inside these businesses, and this is scary. This is bad. That's not good to see something like that. We're talking some immense destruction with the force of this water. It can carry debris for miles, entire trees. In fact, water flowing at just 10 miles an hour can produce the same force as winds blowing at 300 miles an hour. Look at this. This is a huge log coming down the road, and so scary. You never know it's even in the water, but you can see some of the larger objects, including a truck right here. Absolutely life-threatening situations that come with flash flooding. And unfortunately, more heavy rain events are occurring due to our warming climate. So you are more likely to be caught in this situation. If you ever do get stuck in a flash flood, try to stay calm. Get as high as possible and make yourself visible while you wait for first responders. Heavy rain events are predicted to be 40% more common for parts of the country within this century. Just as quickly as the water came up, it goes down, leaving behind a muddy mess of debris and dangers like sharp objects, hazardous waste.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Enzo.
I'm Skeptic.
And we have two very, very special guests tonight. Alma is back in the building. Alma, thank you for coming. We also have Patriotic Baddie here for the first time. So we really, really appreciate you guys coming. Before we get into it, let everybody know who you are. You can kick it off, Alma, and let us know where we can find you.
All right. So my name is Alma Oheniapari. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Willful Positivity. I also have a podcast called Restitch America. And so if you care about, having a dialogue that is civilized, that brings Americans together, go check out Restitch America, but also follow me on Instagram and TikTok.
Nice. So that's what we do here on the new party as well. We have diverse views. So just letting you guys know tonight, that may be watching for the first time, we all represent different parts of the country and different viewpoints. Patriotic Baddie, I'm so glad you could join us. Let everybody know where they can find you and what your platform is about. Uh-oh. I wonder if she can't hear. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Okay.
I think she's trying to figure out how to unmute. Just keep going.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going to move on. So, guys, as you may or may not know, the entire country has seen some flooding. Well, most of the country, from Texas to Florida to New York to Georgia, all over. Unfortunately, as we guys saw, New York and New Jersey saw flooding where Enzo lives. So I'm so glad Enzo is safe and okay. But Northern Jersey saw significant flooding, and even the subway stations did. So tonight, we're going to talk about what to do in a flash flood, and also why are we seeing flooding? Is it global warming? Is it, like what's causing it? Gray, what's your thoughts?
Climate change. It's basically just a lot of the world is heating up. I think she came in, Nora. There you
Hi.
go. Nora, go ahead. You want to talk to her?
Yeah. Hey, Patriotic, how you doing tonight? We're just introducing you in so you can let everybody know about your platform and where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Patriotic Betty. Sorry, I had to join on my phone. My computer was acting up. But yeah, I'm Patriotic Betty. I post content on TikTok, Instagram, and now X. I'm starting to do X more. YouTube a little bit, but not too much. But yeah.
Yeah, so Batty, you missed the start of the show because I apologize. I know you were having some difficulty. So we're gonna talk about the turning point stuff at the end, okay? But the first topic we'll get into tonight will be about the flash floods, and then we'll get into Epstein and then that. So we're just all going around. We do round robin here and we give our viewpoints. Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, it's climate change. The world is heating up. I mean, I went to high school in Florida, and like I remember us maybe having like maybe one hurricane, and us like having to make the school day up at the end. To like now, it's like one or two or three in 1 year, and the kids out of school. So I'm blaming it on climate change.
Mm. Alma, I see you laughing, my conservative brother. Is it climate change? What do you think? You're from the hottest place in the world, Africa. I'm assuming, right?
Originally, yes,
Yes.
from West Africa.
So
All
is
right.
it climate
So
change? What do you think?
my thought is anytime I hear climate change as a potential cause for different things, I like to put it in perspective because it's very easy as human beings for us to be biased towards where we are today without really thinking about what the history of the entire earth has been over time. And so there are, debates around whether it is climate change or if that climate change, if it exists, if it is happening anomalous to the history of the earth, that it is the cause of what we're seeing today. And that's not my expertise, so I'm not going to talk about that per se. I don't know the answer to the question of why are we having more floods. I don't have a specific answer. However, my skepticism radar goes up because usually when people say climate change, they want to propose things that we should do. But I have never been able to connect the proposals to anything that they want to solve. So if you say, let's, stop fossil fuels or whatever the case may be, can you connect that to stopping, the storm or the weather? I don't know that anybody has actually made a very clear connection between the two. It's almost like, let's do something and then we may know whether it works or not. The problem with that is it costs a heck of a lot. So if you're going to do something that costs so much that might be detrimental to our way of life, then it better actually solve the problem you're trying to solve, right? So that's my perspective, but I don't know exactly. I can't say that I know the cause of the storms that are happening right now.
Fair enough. Skeptic, let's break this up. Do you believe in climate change? I know you're a Democrat, so I just want to get your thoughts.
Well, and also I went to school for microbiology, so I actually heard a lot of these conversations. The Earth is getting warmer, and we know that there are parts of Alaska that have been melting currently. There is proof that shows that there is a rise in water levels because there are so many melting, compositions, not just in Alaska but other areas. So we can actually prove that with actual facts and measurements. So I think that it kind of correlates to when we don't have a proper handling of certain districts, particularly conservative areas and red districts. If you live in these districts, please pay attention because you will know what to do when it starts flooding around you. That is what happened over here in Texas. So I think it's a combination of different things. The earth is getting warmer. We are seeing that there is a rise in water levels, and there are incompetent people in office, particularly in red areas like in Texas, that did not put they didn't use the funding that they had from the Biden administration to set up a new flood warning system. They instead put this money into their law enforcement, and therefore they caused a lot of unalivings in children. So it's a combination of things. In some areas it's incompetent people, in other areas it's the weather.
Damn. Enzo, you agree? You live in a blue area. Y'all saw some flooding up there in the subways, and I think New York City is as blue as it gets. What's your thoughts?
I don't agree whatsoever. I don't believe it's climate change at all because from right here from 2021 to 2023, the Atlantic ice sheet our Antarctic ice sheet gained about 108 gigatons per year. This reversed previously laws dating back to at least 2011 when the continent was losing around 142 gigatons of ice annually. I don't realistically think that the world is heating up and that's what's causing all these floods and the rising sea levels and everything like that to the extent that it is. I'm just gonna put on my tinfoil hat and say this is the effects from the cloud seeding and everything like that because the crazy coincidence 2 days before the floods in Florida or not Texas, sorry, that they were doing cloud seeding and this historical flood happened in Texas. I'm not gonna say that it's a crazy conspiracy to believe in, but come on, the facts are there. So I don't realistically think it's climate change whatsoever.
Fair enough. Patriotic, what's your thoughts? Is it climate change? What do you think caused the floods? We live here in Florida. I know you're in Florida like us.
Honestly, I'm pretty new to Florida, so I'm from Ohio, and Ohio is like when it comes to natural disasters, one of the safest places to live because it's so in the middle of everything. So I really don't know what's causing the floods. I mean, maybe it's incompetence, maybe it's just global warming. I really don't know. I don't really get into that stuff too much, if I'm being honest. I'm just now getting used to hurricanes. It's actually funny when I moved to Florida. We had to deal with 2 hurricanes back to back, and that's something I never dealt with my entire life. So definitely something new to me because I'm not used to this. I'm used to just boring Ohio, but that's also boring weather. You know what I mean? So I'm not used to dealing with so much like hurricanes and stuff.
Oh, well, me and Gray, we've been here. I've been here all my life. Gray's came a few years, 10, 15 years ago. But I will say, I don't remember there being so many frequent hurricanes and at this to intensity and level. So I get where you're coming from. All right, guys. So the next clip I'm going to play talks about what to do if you are in a flash flood, because the reality is, unfortunately, you might be in a flash flood one day.
When you're thinking about dealing with a flood at home, the most important part is the pre-planning and getting away from the rising floodwaters as early as possible.
Plan for where the high point is if you have to go to it. Key thing is to get out and not be concerned with your possessions. No matter how priceless they are, no possession is as priceless as you and your family.
If you're in a house or a building when the floods start, you want to get to the highest story possible without getting trapped in an attic.
Highest point in your home. Again, don't grab possessions, but grab a communication device.
Getting onto the roof would be critical because that's a place where helicopters or rescuers can see you. Wearing bright clothes if you have the opportunity. You want to be able to be seen if you're at the position where you're escaping a house and getting onto a roof. If you're trying to get out of a window in a house using a chair or a shovel or any kind of other thing besides your physical body is going to help prevent injuries.
Key is to use an implement that is designed for it. There are actually punches that people can keep for a car window or another window for an emergency.
If you are caught in a car during a flood and your car is being lifted, you want to roll down the windows as soon as possible. Ideally, you'd rather have the car fill with water so it becomes more like a rock instead of just a bobbing object floating downstream, and get up on top of the roof. And then stay as flat as possible so you don't get knocked off the car.
Water will always win against the car. Never, never, never assume the car will get through it and be fine. Don't drown, turn around, head away from the problem. Get out of the car, leave your possessions, protect yourself. Don't be complacent. Plan and listen to warnings. Even if it's the 20th warning you've heard, that may be the one where there's the real problem. Always take them seriously.
We thank you.
All right, guys. So just some tips. We can share other ones that we know. Gray, as someone that lives in Florida, is there anything you want to add that wasn't discussed there?
With us, we have a lot of debris, which is very different from flooding, but people prepare by boarding up their windows, getting supplies, and of course, with all natural disasters, evacuate. If your area has to evacuate, evacuate early because the traffic is going to be crazy. Evacuate it. And I've been in Florida multiple times where a hurricane is hit and the gas stations run out of gas, so you're stuck.
That's a good tip. Enzo, as someone that recently moved from Florida, you have any tips you want to add?
My tips are terrible. This is coming from somebody who's never evacuated for a hurricane or anything like that. I've always stuck it out. The last hurricane that I lived through, we had to deal with flooding, right? I lived right on the water, right in Palm Beach, right on the intercoastal, and it was a mandatory evacuation area. Thank God nothing really happened, but it was floodwaters that were pretty big. And so, yeah, no, don't be like me. Don't be a dumbass, everybody. If they're telling you to evacuate, there's a reason to do it. I was a lot younger at the time. And when you're young, you think you're Superman. All right. Water will take you out quicker than anything. Just leave. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. Just listen. That's all.
Wow, I'm glad the water didn't take you out, man. We wouldn't have met. Alma, any tips that you want to add? I know you live in Utah, so I mean,
Yeah.
you guys have pretty chill weather other than I guess snowstorms and things like that.
Fires. It gets hot in the summer. We deal with fires. And
Oh,
so,
fires.
same kind of thing. I think one of the most important things that don't get spoken about a lot is having an emergency plan. Like, especially, let's assume that your kids are not at home when something starts to happen. Do you know how to contact them? Do you have a place where you can meet? Do you have a protocol for who to call, what number to call? And if you can't get a connection because the cell towers are down, where do you go and meet so we can know that you're okay? So that's really important. I think for everybody also, you need to know where are the escape areas in your house. Have you created a place where people can escape? If you need to get on the roof, is there a way? Do you have a ladder, emergency ladder that you can get access to that gets you on the roof? And then also, assuming that, let's assume that you stay in your home, but and you don't, the water doesn't come in or whatever the case may be. The next question is, how do you survive if you are in the home, you have no electricity, and you have no access, to be able to go out and get food or something like that? It's really important. In my house, for instance, I have, and this is not to say that, I'm not bragging about this, but, I have a year's supply of food in my house, in terms of freeze-dried food and so on and so forth. And the reason is, it's not just so I can protect my family if I am, in a flood or some kind of emergency, but also it helps if I lose my job or something like that. We at least have the basics that we need, and we can also be a blessing to other people in our community if we have, a little extra food that we can share with our community members. So come up with an emergency plan. Make sure that you're thinking about all the contingencies, and communication, I believe, is the most important. If you can figure out how to get to your children and your loved ones and then have a place to rendezvous, I think that would be the most important thing you can do.
Man, I know whose house I'm going to. Patriotic, have you heard any tips since you moved here that you'd like to share, or things that you learned during the last two hurricanes you were in?
I learned that you have to put sandbags around your house. I never seen anybody do that before. Like they give you these bags of sand. We didn't have enough. We actually like ran out because my grandfather. This is my grandfather's house before he passed away. So we just used the ones that he had, but we couldn't cover the whole area. Luckily, the water never rose that high, and it didn't get in our house. But definitely fun.
That's a great tip. Sandbags. Yep, you can't forget the sandbags. But unfortunately, flash floods, they're not. Skeptic, Miss Texas, you have anything you want to add?
No, honestly, Alma's point is really like I grew up in Arkansas and we had a lot of tornadoes. So we had a plan. Like if a tornado started hitting, we all would go down to the basement and just chill in there. And we also had like the nasty dried food. I remember I was like, I would never survive because that food was nasty. But yeah, just have a plan of like where you guys should meet and where everyone should go. I come from a big family, so it was too many of us. So anytime anything happened, we knew our emergency spot to meet was basement.
Oh, okay. Those are some great tips, guys. So, well, while we've been dealing with floods, America's been talking about the Epstein saga. So tonight we're going to take a unique approach and we're going to talk about it from the standpoint, what if Ghislaine Maxwell was the one directing everything? What if Epstein was being controlled by her? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it tonight because it is something interesting to dig through. I'm going to play this clip